All right, so I have popcorn walls in my shop because it is that ghetto fabulous in here and it won't stick to the wall. So I'm gonna do this like this. This is some old string that I've had for some time. It is extremely pre-inked, extremely. So what I'm gonna do is take a dry cotton round and I'm gonna go ahead and just basically run this through that bad boy because I don't want all of that. And now I'm gonna take my string, I'm gonna roll it up. My fingers get a nice tight string so that I can use my thumbs to press in and adjust, right? So you always find the center of the face first. Go down the nose. Cupid's bow is perfect. Not everyone's Cupid bow is perfect. Some people's a little off, so sometimes you gotta choose whether you're gonna follow the center of the nose or if you're going to follow, or not if you're going to, but if you can follow, I guess, the Cupid's bow. But sometimes you'll realize that sometimes that Cupid's bow is a little off. I'm trying to press down. I may have taken too much ink off, but I'd rather that than having all this crazy ink. Now let's try another string already. This is gonna be a funny video, I see. Oh, look at this one. It's like barely got anything on there. I brought these in bulk, so kind of like not wanting to waste them. So I'm gonna run it again. Maybe not squeeze as hard though this time. And here I'm wrapping the string around. All right. So I'm coming back here, trying to redo this straight line. It's almost giving. I kind of see a line there. All right, so I got my center line. I find the head of a brow by using the crease of the nostril. And we're just gonna bring that line down. Boom, nice, nice. See, by me, I'm also coming in nostril again on the other side. And I'm gonna go ahead and lift, all right? I wouldn't say lift, but you tighten up and you kind of use your finger to push down so that it transfers to the skin and it's not, you know, having that gap from where your face kind of, you know, smooth it out. But you can either choose to go from the center crease of the nose, crease of the nose, or sometimes I like to be a little extra and I'll put a little bit of ink or marker, not marker, but the pencil that we're using. I think I'm a little nervous. I'm trying to do this kind of fast-ish because I have another client coming. Look how that's a little bit further off. Look at that. So center line here to the nostril line here. Now, had I done what I normally do, which would be to do this first line here, pause. Look at how this is and look at how off this one is. Like the line is just a little bit on the side of it. Just a little bit, right? It's kind of like inward, so it should be over a little bit more. So I'm gonna go ahead and just wipe it off and do what I would normally do because there is always that little possibility that you're just a little off, and I try to get as much precision as I like. I really do enjoy these things here, man, because they do clean up pretty easily. That's not intentional. All right. Bada bing, bada boom. All right, so measure here and you hold it really, really tight. Like it doesn't really matter about the numbers, just wanna make sure you have a good tight grip on it so that you can transfer that same thickness from the middle line on over. I just drag up a little bit. I'm not seeing too much on the skin. You see that little mark right there though? That's a good spot. That's gonna show us basically this is where that line should be. Okay, it's a little faint, but I'm cool with that. I'd rather be a little faint than to be too thick of a line. It just does less, makes room for less cleanup. And look at that, boom, perfect distance. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and find the arch of the eyebrows and the tail of the eyebrows, because we cannot start anything else without knowing where the center is, where the heads of the brows start, where our arches are, and our tails, okay? So I'm going in with the same string again, and I'm going to come on the outside of the nostril, okay? And it's typically going to go right across the center of that eyeball, which kind of right up in here. So I put that little mark here. Now I want to straighten up my line. All right, boom, that's my arch. So what I'm gonna do now is come on over here. I'm gonna spread out from the 0 line, the middle line of the face. And I'm gonna go ahead and transfer that over to the other brow. So same middle line and pull up. You see how it's made a little tiny mark there. We can see it, so that's good. All right, and you just want to bring that line down, make it more obvious, right? There we go. All right, and on the outer corner of the nostril again, and right through the slit of the eye, like the outer corner, boom, that's gonna show you where your tail should end. So you can use the outer corner, or I like to come from the arch and just transfer this thickness on over, so I'm as symmetrical on both sides as possible. All right, not bad at all. All right, now this person has no eyebrows. You would already want to be looking at your face chart to see what their face shape tells you. Like, I have a long face. You would not give me a high arched eyebrow because it's going to make my face look longer. So I need something a little more subtle. Now the next line, I feel 2 lines is pretty important. It's going to be the bottom of your brow where it starts, and then basically what I call the roof is to show you how high your arches will be. So you won't go any lower than this line here, you won't go any higher than the roof line there. And when it comes to trying to find the right spot to place the eyebrow, you never want to go any lower than where your finger fits into this curve of the eyebrow, or brow bone, should I be more specific. So you can take your index finger, put it there, so eyebrow should be no lower than that. So I'm gonna come on my string, got a good grip, I can push down, and I'm coming over that brow bone area, because we don't want to be too far away from the brow area, and we also don't want to go below it, okay? So I'm trying to make that a little more obvious. This kind of sucks. I want my line thin. All right, it's kind of good. I'm gonna go ahead and get another string. And I'm also still gonna run this string through just a little bit of pressure on this cotton round to take off some of the extra ink. And now, also, so we're gonna go from here. This is the bottom of our brow. This determines the thickness. So I don't want it too thick, so I'm gonna come up just a little bit. That's gonna be basically my thickness of my brow. From this bottom to this top, this is the head of my brow. This is how thick it's gonna be. Now, we're gonna pretend like this person has a fairly long face like myself. We don't want to go high up with the arch too much. We're going to keep it fairly balanced, and I'm going to come up ever so slightly. I guess because I've been doing it for a while now, I can kind of gauge about how much distance between the top of the brow and the roof. You know, you want to have a little angle going on there, but a lot of times you have hair that to show you about how high you should be. A lot of times the left eyebrow is going to be arched higher than the right one. That's okay. You sometimes you want to take a little bit from the top here and a little bit from the bottom here, so you kind of move them in the middle instead of having all of the hair going from one brow to try to move the other one down or up. Okay, so if I had hair that was coming all the way up here and this one was way down here, I'm probably going to go right in the middle ish, or come a little below it, because we don't need all that hair there, and we're going to leave a little hair from down here missing. But we don't have hair right now. I'll show you that on another model. I think I just got a little confusing with you guys. I apologize. But again, this line here is my roof. I will not go any higher than that. So now what I'm gonna do is now connect my arches and my tails, my heads, all that good stuff, right? But what I do like to do is a little trick. I like to give my arch kind of a two line situation. It just kind of helps me curve my angles a little bit better, right? So now what we're gonna do is connect the dots basically. This is our roof line. Let me see if I can get this little pencil pen, because this is what we're gonna end up doing. So we're always gonna, remember this is the roof, so we're gonna come from here, gonna connect this dot. Okay, that didn't do much for me. To this guy here, okay? So I almost always come from the arch first to the head of the brow. That's why this is not as much fun. I guess sitting up is a little easier. And when you're talking about a traditional eyebrow, typically the thickness from here, the head to the tail, is about the same thickness. So that was the top line telling us how high we were gonna go. And this was our bottom line saying how low the brow was gonna go. And now I'm gonna go ahead and connect it to the arch area. Now, you can be strategic and plan out ahead of time, but I know that I'm gonna keep the same parallel situation here, and it's gonna come together. Let's see, boom. Now you can choose to go from a little thicker to a little smaller. I'm gonna keep it traditional and keep the same thickness from the arch all the way to the head of the brow. And this is not surprising, unfortunately. Typically I would definitely be using something with the beak. Oh no, okay, we can use that. Trying to tear my skin. All right, this definitely should be shaved, but let's see if it gives us a little, oh, look how pretty. Just glide over. All right, so that's gonna be the bottom to the top, and that's from the head to the arch. So now we want to go ahead and connect the arch. So remember, our tail line does not go past that, and we want to go through the arch line. So I basically connected the front of the brow, aka the head of the brow, to the first line of the arch, and I'm going to go ahead and connect the tail to the second line of the arch. You always want to make a tight little V. I don't know if you can see that, but I'm going to go over it with the pencil. So I would definitely recommend that your pencil is nice and thin, because you want to keep your lines thin. And sometimes it's easier to keep the line straight by just kind of tapping into it. This is a little silicone, so I can't tap as much, but you see the shape is here. Look how pretty. So at this point, I would go ahead and ask the client, what do they think? So I'm going to round this out too. I'm going to soften that arch so when they look at it, you can either do this with the stick or with the pencil, okay? So I go ahead, and you might want to wipe away the front of the brow lines right there. You still want to keep these main lines, your center, your heads, your arches, and your tail, because if they don't like it, you don't want to have to find those important lines all over again when you can simply just bring them down and reuse them. I wonder if my client's here yet. Must be a lot of traffic. All right, so as you can see here, we got this going on. I like to, again, take away, like, this is going beyond the tail. You don't want them to be confused and thinking their tail is going to be that long. You know, you kind of want to get rid of this line here. And you do so by placing your little cotton stick flat, and you simply just push, okay? So that's so simple. Anytime you want to clean up a line, you need to lay it flat and kind of just push, you know? But I'm gonna go ahead, and hopefully this video is actually helpful, but I know I'm gonna end up redoing another one. So now we're gonna be focusing on these little lines here, or dots, because this line came to here, this line came to here. So first we connected from the arches of this brow to the head, and now we're gonna connect from this middle line that allowed these dots to now exist because they are coming out from the shape. And we're gonna go connect it to the arches. Okay, now one thing I like to do too at this point, because now I know how thick my arch is gonna be, I know it's gonna fall. So I like to come on in and kind of bring that over. And now I know just how thick my brow is actually going to be. So just a little, all right, make a little line right there. All right. Almost done. I'm not gonna conceal and stuff because I don't have time. I'm gonna do this again. This was kind of fun. I love this little guy. But we're gonna get a good grip, be able to push in so you can make contact with the skin. So we're gonna go through this point, this little guy here, the center. We're gonna align with the head as well, going from here, here, here. We're basically connecting dots at this point. Okay, so from boom and drag. Oh, that was pretty nice. All right, now sometimes the bottom area doesn't drag as well. Some people like to actually, and again, through this line and this dot, okay? Because if you look at it, those dots are lining up there, those line up there, and we need to cross and make a nice X here. All right, so remember I found out how thick my arch is. I don't want to go any higher than that. So we're gonna go through that first dot, second dot, and now we basically found our way to the arch. I'm gonna tap this line in because I don't see it as much in this area. And sometimes you have to, some people's eyebrow bones are so strong with those, they have those deep set eyes and they end up, it's kind of like it slips and you'll easily make that shape way bigger than what you intended. So also I like to go ahead and look at the tail here, lay it flat, bring it over. This is giving me a good idea of where my tail, it shouldn't be no lower than that. I know it shouldn't be past this line, but definitely shouldn't be any lower than that line. So I'm actually gonna pay attention to this line that I left here. That was from the tail through the arch. Remember, we connect the head of the arch to the first line. I'm sorry, the head of the body. Yeah, the head of the brow to the very first arch line, right? And now we're gonna connect the tail from the second line to the tail line. But I'm gonna use this guy here to try and make the perfect X to come through the second, this guy here. All right, it may not be as perfect, but I want it to be as close as possible. So I see a faint line, not outside the arch. There we go. And now I'm gonna connect from this guy to right up here. I need a little more. I'm gonna try it this time without wiping it, but I know it's gonna be messy. All right, oh, not bad, not bad, not bad. Boom. And you can use your pencil, or like I said, you can use, it's kind of hard to do that on here, so you're gonna use a pencil. Now, I didn't make sure my pencil was properly sharpened, so now I feel like I have thicker lines when that's not what I wanted. Look how nice and thin these lines are here. And a little thick over here, but I'm just gonna come in and lay this one flat, and I'm gonna push along the line. You can move as slow as you need to, but that just kind of take away the extra there. I always feel better when the line is just thin and stays thin. Now here I have a really good grip and it's really tight. It's not laid flat, but I'm using the tip of it just to finesse a little bit. But I'm also going to use the clean side here, and we're going to just round off this arch. All right. Looks kind of similar, but if you're not sure, there's one more trick that you can do. So the Cupid's bow is really centered. That's nice. I'm gonna redefine it. redefine it. And now I'm just gonna make sure that I feel more comfortable about where my arches and tails are, because look, I can see this tail is a little higher than this one. So even if you didn't see that, you would lay your person down. Oh, it's so hard to do. Yikes. Okay, I'm gonna check the arch. Okay, I can touch that. Boom. So right on the lip. All right, the arch. And that was the first line, not the second line that I measured from. You want to make sure you have a good grip when you move it. And it looks like I'm right on it. Yep. Right on it. Now, I'm going to try and look at this tail again, because I know it's not right. I don't know how I did that. All right, that's about right there. Yep, look at that guy. He's supposed to be a little bit lower. So that means we need to clean this up. So I'll mark right there. And I'm simply just gonna take my string and go to that line, go to that dot, excuse me, and connect it to the very arch line that I connect to. And let's see if this one has a little more ink on it. I'm still gonna go through this line, but I need to connect to this dot. I need a tight tail. All right. I know it's getting a little messy. I'm basically gonna come in now. Still wanna round that off. And you wanna get this excess out the way. Boom. I'm gonna clean up a little bit on the inside so you can really see the shape, because when you have like hair on one side more than the other, it can end up sometimes looking like it's thicker or not, you know, as full as the other one. It can just look like that. So I do feel like the thickness is still a little off. The tail is in a better place, I think. Let's see. So I did have to pick it up. All right, so from this Cupid's bow to the tail, Cupid's bow to the tail. How beautiful! Let's see if our arches are in a good place. I'm gonna go with the first line, the bottom of the arch. Make sure you're right here. Got a good grip on it before you move. I'm on this dot. You want to put a little dot there, not just a line, but a little dot so you're kind of measuring from the same point every time. So going up to that guy, holding it, turning around, come from here and put it on an angle, and boom, it's definitely matched up. Oh, son of a biscuit eating bulldog. And just from here, you would basically just go in with your, well, I would definitely get the approval first. Make sure you like the brow and the shape. And then the next step to make sure that everything looks good is to fill it in. And of course, your last step would be to conceal it. But I think I still don't like to fill it in too much. I don't want it all black. I actually like to use a brown pencil to fill it in because I like to see my outlines. Even when I conceal, my concealer isn't so heavy to where it's like I have to guess where my outline is. And you never conceal to fix the shape. You literally just conceal to lock the shape in. Okay? So that's one eyebrow. And don't forget, you can always still clean up. You see little things. I just feel like this is a little high here. Hello? Hello?
Hello, good evening. Hey.
Hey.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if it was still too late to come. There's a couple of accidents. I took westbound and 2 of the right lanes are blocked.
Oh, shit.
At Bonneville and Causeway.
When do you leave again?
I'm sorry?
You leave out tomorrow?
I leave Wednesday. I have a couple of appointments starting at 10 a.m. tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't have anything between like 2 and 5.
Oh, well, if you don't have anything between 2 and 5, because I have to go to take care of some family business in the morning.
Yes, ma'am.
And, yeah, that could work. But you think, like, how close are you? About what is your GPS saying?
Let me see. It's saying, like I can still, I can still make it, but I didn't want to, have you waiting there, so long. So my
Right.
GPS is saying, 5:40. So I guess it's 8 minutes.
Oh, yeah, I'll see you in a second.
Okay. All right.
All right, bye.